So there are a lot of people asking which Linux distribution to choose, especially beginners. So they keep asking me, or even generally, they keep asking which distribution should I choose, because one of the cons and pros of Linux is this versatile number of distributions. This is even a cons, even a pro. Why pro? Because this makes your choice versatile. This makes your choice variable. You can choose your own distribution, and it goes pretty perfect. So you have control over your things, and you can have different level of fun and different level of stuff. But what is the cons of this? This cons is the beginners, the general beginners, they get confused that which distribution to choose. Like, it's a mess up of distributions out there. There are about 2000 distributions or something. I don't know, but about that. So what to choose, that's a very big confusion. But yeah, generally we would like to analyze stuff a bit, and we should go deeper into these stuff and then see what it does and what distribution should you choose. So when we talk about distributions in Linux, the most popular two branches, which are the granddaddies, well, they are Debian and Arch or Arc. So what's Debian and Arc? So Debian is currently the most popular because of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is based on Debian, and I had made a video on Debian versus Arc before, which was pretty low quality, I agree. And yeah, so that's how stuff work. Here is Debian, here is Arch. So I choose Arch, but it may differ for you. So Debian is like a stable branch. The packages come checked, though they are quite old. They are a lot stabler than Arc, Red Hat and other stuff, and they are pretty good. Debian community is pretty good. Then there comes Ubuntu, which is maybe it's still the most popular Linux distribution out there. And really, I don't like Ubuntu. I don't like Ubuntu on the desktop. Not talking about servers, I don't really like it on the desktop. I have my aggressions on it, on Ubuntu, on Snap, on Canonical, and all. So I have my aggressions on them. But if you're fine with Ubuntu, you can go with it. But I don't really recommend it. Because then comes another thing, that is Ubuntu based distributions. So I would tell that I don't like these Ubuntu based distributions just because I don't like Ubuntu, because Ubuntu based distributions are just using it as a base. So suppose if I don't like C language but I like Python, then Python is written in C, it's kind of based in C, so there is no such rule that I won't like Python if I don't like C. So kind of like that. And longest Debian distros I used were the Debian 11 and Linux Mint. It was one of my first, actually my second Linux distribution after Ubuntu, which I couldn't stay. It was horrible experience. So well, Mint is, I highly recommend it for beginners in Linux. It just gives you a whole packed desktop, which is good to go at the start. It's low on resources. It has 3 options, and they are pretty good options, pretty stable options. The Linux Mint 20, the new version they came. And if I go back to Linux Mint, then I would recommend LMD. LMD is like Linux Mint Debian edition. So it's without the Ubuntu fan base. So I really like that too. That project is nice, and the main focus Linux Mint is nice. Other people suggest Pop OS too, because it's better for gaming. But really, I tried Pop OS, and I may make a video on this channel. But really, it's great. The distribution is great, but the current update where they put the Cosmic Desktop really disappointed me. I don't know if it's just me, because you can like it, some people like it, and you can just try it. So if you like it, just sit on it. Well, I personally think that Cosmic Desktop on GNOME 3, I don't really like the idea. Like, it's just 50% of GNOME 40, then why not use GNOME 40 instead? So I hope they switch to GNOME 40, except this Cosmic and all. And else, yeah, Pop! OS is great. Pop! OS is great for drivers. If you have any NVIDIA drivers or proprietary drivers, there is some good chance that they will be working on the Pop! OS distro. So that's Debian. Other suggestions, Zorin OS. Well, it's awesome. It shares its look with the Windows 10 interface, and the Zorin OS Lite is for old computers, so it's pretty great. And the new update just made it awesome. So yeah, I prefer Zorin over Pop! OS any day. And there are tons of distributions, but some are my top choices in Debian, which are the Debian itself, which is my first favorite. So you can just try out the Debian 11, which is the new one, and it's pretty great. If I go for a Debian distribution, then actually I would prefer that I should go for vanilla Debian, which is the Debian OS. So because I just like it, but your choices can be different. As a beginner, I would recommend Mint, Linux Mint, Pop! OS, Zorin, and some other distros are there. So you can just explore these stuff. Like some people even recommend Ubuntu, and yeah, it can be good. Like many people are now currently on Ubuntu, the desktop, Linux desktop. So I don't really know. And MX Linux is a great distribution. I have tried it. So distrowatch.com says it is the most used, but I don't think so. But yeah, MX Linux is great for Debian, and it's kind of like extra patch over Debian, so it just makes you get the experience of vanilla Debian. They haven't even customized the NeoFetch, or maybe they have, but anyway. So I like these kind of distros which don't add much of their packages, much of their security and all. I'm not security, I mean much of their bloated features and all, and just give us a better layer over previous distro like Arch. So it's hard to install for some. So well, it is really not so, it's not so great idea to go for Arch in the first. So you could go for another distro which doesn't have much stuff outer than Arch, but yeah, it has the stuff you need, like a layer, a GUI installer, a live boot setup. So that will be great, because that's just vanilla Arch you are getting. And then let's come to Arch. So we did the Debian thing, and then we come to Arch. So Arch is my favorite, and I'm kind of biased towards Arch. And yeah, so Arch is extremely light. It has a command line installer, the vanilla Arch distribution. It's an awesome base, and it's rolling release basically. So the latest of latest software keep pushing. Sometimes that can be unstable, but to be honest, I didn't feel any unstable experience in Arch, Manjaro, or Endeavor OS. And really, it's just working fine. It's just working smooth. Some people say, oh no, you will go to Arch, you will crash, you will go to Arch, you will blow up, your computer will blow up. But not really. I never had any major issues, major problems with Manjaro, which I use at my main distribution, and even Arch, which I am using for my current project. So yeah, I think it's a pretty solid and pretty great distribution, and everyone should try it. Some say the installation can be tricky, and we have made videos for that. So we have made your installation easier. And yeah, in this channel you will find about 2 videos. Well, leave the third one, which is the shortened one of the second video. So basically both go through installing Arch. Now one day I can even go on manually installing Arch, so no one knows. But yeah, that's it. So Here is Vanilla Arch. Then there are, for beginners, I strongly recommend distributions. These are the three ones: Arco Linux, Endeavor OS, Manjaro. These three are really awesome distributions. These three, they work like magic. Manjaro, the new releases, Manjaro just gets better every time. Same with Endeavor OS. It just gets better every time. The new Endeavor OS release, it was pretty impressive one, and the new news came that Manjaro is shifting their browser from Firefox to Vivaldi. Now some don't like it, some like it, but I would say that's a very good option because I use Vivaldi personally, and I can call it simply the browser of the future. So yeah, that was it for Manjaro, and for Endeavor OS, well, it's again great, and it's nearly Arch. It shows the console log, and it doesn't include many of the repos that Manjaro and all include, and it's like giving you base Arch with a layer over it, but the layer is made beautifully. So it's like putting a golden layer on silver jewelry, and that's pretty polished. So that makes it very good. And yeah, for Arch based distros, I go for either Manjaro or Endeavor or Vanilla Arch because I'm habituated to Vanilla Arch. Now there are other some. So there is another one which is Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is RHEL, and it's gaining popularity now, and I guess it will even add to the list of the famous distros because of one distribution, which is the Fedora Linux. So it is just gaining increasing popularity every day and by day. And well, I am moderately like Fedora. Like I don't like it to the fullest, nor I like it to the worst. Well, I'll hate it completely. Well, but I think that Rocky Linux, which is another RHEL distribution, it suits better for me than Fedora because well, the first thing that it is kind of heavy on my hardware, so I don't prefer it on my hardware, and it's kind of slow for me. Well, when I booted Fedora, it was the file manager and all the file processing, it was pretty slow down there, and DNF needs to be configured, but I don't have any problem. I would just install Homebrew on bad days, and I won't really use DNF that time. Either I would use Yum or I would use Homebrew, which is my top choice for RHEL distros. So I like the Red Hat base, and it's pretty secure. It's pretty it's like falling between Debian and Arch. So it's not as bleeding edge as Arch, but it's not as stable as Debian. But it's stable plus it's bleeding edge. Like not so much bleeding edge, but yeah, you get my point. So that's why I would prefer RHEL distros over Debian, because I like latest and greatest software. Well, I use my window managers and all, which need some latest and greatest stuff, because they have some very exciting updates which are not really pushed to the stable branch. And in Debian, the software stays for months and months, weeks and months for checking. And there are other few. There are Gentoo Linux, which has just become a meme now. That it's kind of harder than Arch, the installation, and you have to recompile everything. You have to compile the software, and that's pretty awful for me. Well, that's not even friendly for a beginner. But for the Red Hat side, I would say a beginner can go for Fedora or he can go for Rocky Linux. Now the thing is that in RHEL distros there is not much there is not much choice like it's in Arch or Debian, because they are the two mainstream bases. While RHEL is it was the mainstream base with CentOS, and it was kind of the best distribution for software and really the servers. So but the thing is that it got discontinued, I guess, and it faced some disaster, and yeah, so now it's completely unknown. Now mostly Ubuntu is famous for server, but yeah, that was how the legacy of Red Hat Enterprise Linux went down. Now Red Hat is one of the biggest contributors of Linux. Even Linux Torvalds use Fedora. He is the creator of Linux, if you didn't know. So yeah, that was the whole thing. You can go for your choice. I laid down my opinions on these three bases. Well, there are many bases I have not covered: Slack, SUSE, except OpenSUSE. I don't really think I need to mention other stuff. But yeah, OpenSUSE, it's great. I haven't tried it till now, but I have heard it's great. I will surely try it someday, and yeah, I will develop opinions on it, and I will make a video on it if I want. So yeah, if you want a video on any of the distributions, you can just write in the comments. You can just say, and I will just read your comments, because I read all the comments, and then I would respond to you. So this was it for this video. I hope this video helped you and help your beginner journey to switch to Linux. So maybe you understood my point, and basically the whole summary is, if you are the absolute beginner and you are trying to find a distribution here and there, so go for Debian. Go for Debian based distros, Linux Mint and Pop OS, if you want. Then if you want Ubuntu, though I don't like it again, and then Zorin OS, which is currently my most preferred distribution, because Linux Mint by itself, I don't really think the UI will be as pleasing for some, but yeah, it has its own pros. So yeah, you can go for Zorin. Then once you advance about 1 month or so, if you learn Linux with me in my course, then what you can do is you can shift it to Arch based distros, which is Manjaro, or you can go to Debian, which is the higher level Debian, and from there you can switch to Arch. Or maybe if you find comfortable in one distro, I'm not telling you to distro hop. Well, it's kind of a bad habit sometimes, but see, explore what is your best suitable, because really you distro hop till most people, this goes for most people, you distro hop till you find a distribution that fits your needs. So that's what happened with me at the first, because even when I used Linux Mint, then what happened, I used to distro hop about every day, every week, and I would try distros here and there. So then I came to Manjaro, fell in love with it, and now I am not really distro hopping. I've stopped my distro hopping because I'm self-content on this very well distribution. I think this is a great distribution, and I recommend it for all beginners in Arch. So this was it for this video. Thank you for watching me. Like this video, share this to your tech geeks, geek friends, and don't forget to subscribe the channel. I will meet you next time.